Everything is set up. The stage is ready. You have created a solid sleep environment. You have been following a really great biological sleep schedule, and you have just completed your sleep routine. Now it's time to begin time checks. My name is Sarah. I am a certified pediatric sleep consultant of Your Zen Baby Sleep with 15 years of special education experience in the classroom, and I'm gonna get your child's sleep back on track. So I want you to put your baby or toddler or preschooler in their crib or bed awake. And I want you to say goodnight, I love you, turn off the lights, turn on the sound machine, and you're going to leave the room. So hopefully they are going to happily play and self-soothe and find their comfy spot and drift off into a nice peaceful sleep. Realistically, it's not going to look like this. This is where you're going to begin time checks. I want you to rate your baby's level of protest or crying from a 1 to a 10. And if they're anywhere in between a 1 to a 5, I want you to pause and just listen. Most of the time, this is just gonna sound like whining or intermittent crying. So maybe we're crying out for 30 to 60 seconds and then we stop and then we start again. This doesn't require any type of check-in, and I want you to breathe and take a break. If your baby or child's crying does increase in intensity and you would rate it between a 6 to a 10, this is when we're going to start the method. We need to support our children at this point in time. So you can follow this chart as an example of how to run time checks in increasing increments. I'm just gonna go off of day 1 and check 1. You'll set the timer for 2 minutes. At the end of the 2 minutes, if your child is still crying, I want you to go in and offer some support. And I really only want you to be in there for about 30 to 60 seconds. And during that 30 to 60 seconds, you can do a quick diaper check. We wanna make sure that they haven't pooped. I want you to do a quick environment check. I wanna make sure they're in a safe spot in the crib. And we can provide some physical comfort, rubbing cheeks, rubbing belly or back, but I don't want you to pick them up. That can be very confusing to a child who is used to being rocked or cuddled to sleep. So I want you to keep them in the crib and I want you to soothe at the crib side. If your child is standing, no need to lay them back down. They likely have the skill of doing that on their own and they should be allowed to do that by themselves. If your child is in a bed, I want you to make sure that we're doing all of the soothing while they're in the bed. And then after 60 seconds, I'd like you to leave the room. What is likely going to be your child's demeanor at that point? They may have soothed in the very short time that you were standing in the room. It's likely that they did not soothe to calm though, and they will likely start to intensify their crying or their protest when you leave. And this is when we start another round. So go to that chart, start your timer for 4 minutes. At the end of the 4 minutes, if they're still crying, you're going to repeat the previous steps, and then we're going to move to 6 minutes and then 8 minutes. The rest of the night, you will be using 8 minutes for your checks every time they wake up. I want you to make note after your child falls asleep, the amount of time that you waited at that last waiting period, and use that amount of time the next time they wake up. So I'm gonna give you a specific example. When your child fell asleep at bedtime in the first couple nights, it's likely going to be during that 8, 10, or 12-minute check. We're then going to use 8, 10, or 12 minutes, again, depending on the night, to wait the next time they wake up in the middle of the night. Why aren't we starting from the beginning? Because if we know that your baby can fall asleep in 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes, we want to give them that same learning opportunity again. This is why we want to give them that same amount of time and that same learning opportunity over and over again throughout the night. You will also use this same method for naps. And you're going to move down the chart to day 2 for your first day of nap training and use the numbers for day 2 on nighttime for that night. You'll notice on the chart that every day the amount of time you're waiting increases and each waiting period also adds a couple minutes. The theory behind this is that it's going to give your child more and more space to learn how to self-soothe while still allowing you to be there for them and be part of the process, making sure they're safe, making sure they feel supported, but still creating a boundary that is their job to learn sleep, and it is your job to teach them how to sleep. What can you expect in terms of length of time for time checks? This is very variable, just depending on your child's age. and their developmental level. So I would say on average for children under the age of 15 months old, you may see that the first couple nights they will protest for about 30 to 45 minutes. Again, this is average. Some children are less and some are more. As we get into the toddler years, they will probably protest longer than that. So it isn't uncommon for kids to be intermittently crying. That means on and off, not for a straight hour, but they may be intermittently crying for about 45 minutes to even as much as an hour and a half. An hour and a half is definitely an outlier, and if you're seeing that happen, you're seeing a lot of protest and you're not seeing much improvement after the first couple nights and days of naps, I want you to look at your response. How are you responding? Are you providing too much support? Are you being very black and white? Are you soothing too much that it's confusing to them? So if that is the case, I really want you to pull back and really understand that your role in all of this is to be their support system and not necessarily to be the person who is soothing them completely to sleep anymore. As soon as you remove some of that support, you will probably start to see that they are going to have greater outcomes. Their intensity and their duration of crying will reduce, and you will be sleeping through the night very soon. Once again, my name is Sarah, and as a certified pediatric sleep consultant, I have helped over 350 families one-on-one find the sleep that they need and deserve. Leave a like to let me know if you found this helpful, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to turn on the notifications to get the latest updates for all of my sleep content and all of my new posts coming your way. From my living room to yours, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.